Welcome to the debate of the century. Today, two channels will go head-to-head to make their arguments for why Sonic Heroes is either an amazing work of art or an abysmal pile of garbage. Y'all already know Heroes is my goat, and I'm here to defend its honor, but today we found a worthy opponent. Here to argue against the game is the one, the only SF Productions. SF, how's it going, man?
What's up?
Hell yeah. I am excited for this debate. And to make sure things don't get too spicy, moderating this debate will be the amazing Canon Construction. Canon, thank you so much for being here.
Hey everybody, I'm really glad to be here. I was glad that you reached out. I'm excited.
It is a huge pleasure to have you both on the channel. So now I'll let Canon take over and explain the rules.
So I will be moderating this debate as I have not played Heroes. I'm about as unbiased as it gets in this department, and so Not a Sonic channel came to me. So here are the rules. Each person will be given 2 minutes for their opening statements to cover their position on the game. Afterward, the debate will be broken up into segments, each with 5 rounds. The first round is 2 minutes per speaker, followed by 1 minute each for rebuttals. At the end, both will be given 3 minutes for their closing statements. So, we're going to have a coin toss, and I'm going to go ahead and flip that now. And that's SF Productions. All right, gentlemen, let's get started. We're going to go with opening statements first. Your 2 minutes begins now, SF.
Okay, bet. All right, so Sonic Heroes is one of my least favorite Sonic games, if not my least favorite mainline Sonic game. I think every aspect about it, apart from a couple of things, is genuinely some of the worst gameplay I've ever played. You have things like the level design, which I don't like, the general gameplay, which I don't like. I don't even like the art style. Really, the only good thing is like the music. But everything else I just think is poorly designed and just not fun to play. But I do understand why people like the game. It's just I also think it's full of unnecessary gimmicks and padding with things like the level design and with the team mechanic. I think the team mechanic is super underutilized and generally not well designed. And I think it's more of a hindrance to the gameplay than anything. I can't appreciate the effort that went into making the game. Like I know Takashi Iizuka like almost killed himself making the game, so I gotta respect that. But it doesn't really change the fact that the game that we got is just pretty bad. And honestly, I would rather play games like Rise of Lyric, Secret Rings, Black Knight, 06, etc. over Heroes. Really, genuinely. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say for my opening statement.
All right. In that case, Not a Sonic, good job. SF, thank you. Not a Sonic channel, it is now your turn.
Boom, Rise of Lyric. Okay, that aside, Sonic Heroes is an amazing game. It just needed a better tutorial. To start, the game is a home run in terms of aesthetics, level themes, music. The game's vibrant, varied, and has what I think to be the best art direction in the series. I think the level design is phenomenal. It carries the top and bottom path structure from the classics, where like mastering your movement and platforming can outright soar over the lower, slower paths. The ability to swap between 3 characters means that you have endless options for how you want to progress through a level, and it also gives you pretty much every tool you need to maintain a consistent flow. Kind of like Unleashed, everyone loves that game. While the ground control can be a bit slippery, the game gives you a complex kit of mechanics that I think genuinely work with the fast acceleration, and I think the controls feel snappy and responsive. To me, it's fun once you get the hang of them. Heroes has one of the highest skill ceilings of any Sonic game, making it by far the most rewarding to replay and master. To me, the game just feels good to play. Knowing that a tornado jump can save you, swapping to flight mode can land your jumps easier, and that Knuckles has a wide range of attack options, I honestly just feel like most of the deaths in the game are much more preventable than people make them out to be. Even the worst aspect of the game, having to play it 4 times to reach the final boss, it doesn't bother me much, because unlike the adventure games or some of the other games in the series, with Heroes, the forced repetition keeps the same high-speed gameplay style. The level layouts are altered enough to make them feel pretty fresh, too. If there's one thing I think proves my point about Heroes most, is that everyone I've known that's gone back and replayed this game ended up enjoying it more and more every time they did. And to this day, I've been playing the game for my entire life and still somehow find more enjoyment in it every time I replay it. And also, Egg Fleet. Enough said. Egg Fleet is the best level in the series. But yeah, that's about all I've got.
All right. Sounds like someone came prepared.
Oh, it's gonna go downhill real quick for me. I have that little speech in my head, that's about it.
All right, well, we're moving into our first round. Take it away, SF Productions, for level design. We're going to have 5 rounds of you guys going back and forth. 2 minutes for each of the first round, and then 1 minute for each of the rating for rebuttal rounds. SF,
Alright.
your thoughts on level design?
So the level design in Heroes is interesting. The more I think about it, it's very inconsistent almost. Like some levels, like not a Sonic Channel mentioned, has things like top and bottom pathways where and multiple alternate pathways, but a lot of other levels like was it Power Plant seem to have very repetitive level design that heavily relies on multiple combat scenarios, and they do that. It really feels like they do that in order to just pad the level length rather than, actually make the level design engaging, I guess you could say. I guess the general level design, I guess every level is kind of linear, but they're also wide open because you need to make room for the multiple characters. So, and I just don't really like that, because if you're going to make something linear, then make it more like, I guess, reactionary focused. But what Heroes does is I feel like they're trying to go for more exploration focused level design, but they like didn't go all the way with it almost. It's like I think Frog Forest and Ocean Palace are fine levels. I think those effectively implement multiple alternate pathways and specific level gimmicks and whatnot. But then you get to levels like Bingo Highway and what was it, Casino Street? I think. No, I don't think that was. What was that level called? I don't remember. Whatever that level is with the stupid pinball machine. That shit is terrible. Like that shit is terrible. And then you get to like Rail Canyon, and I don't like the rail grinding in this game. The rail grinding kind of sucks. And then you get to like Hang Castle and Mystic Mansion, where those levels present really cool gimmicks. It's just they repeat too often, and the level gets padded to like what 10 to 15 minutes. At least that's my personal experience. Overall, I just think the level design is significantly held back by the fact.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, SF. That's enough. It has been 2 minutes. You're gonna have to pass on to Not a Sonic Channel with a rebuttal.
I will agree. Casino Park is probably the worst level in the game. The pinball physics are unintuitive. The controls are weird. However, it's also one of the shorter levels in the game, and every other level in the game to me is pretty much perfect. You mentioned the rail grinding isn't fun. I disagree. I think it's almost as good as SA2's rail grinding. You can hold down the crouch button downhill, kind of like rolling into a ball, to go a lot faster. Swapping rails to me is just about as consistent as it was in the previous game anyway, and Heroes would be the last game to have momentum as a core mechanic of the rails. I actually really enjoy those two levels. As for the, you like the levels that have the quick timing, quick thinking, sort of like Unleashed. I would say that it's a combination of thinking quickly on your feet to maintain the top paths and keep your flow, but it's also strategy. Heroes is a game of strategy. You have 3 different characters, all with complex move sets, and the level design asks you to use that frequently, which does mean that a first playthrough is going to be kind of slow. You're going to fall down, have to fight a lot of, boring enemies. But I would say 80 to 85% of the combat in Heroes is optional. Whenever you can master, say, Rocket Excel jumping with Sonic, swapping to Tails to cover huge gaps. Like in Power Plant, every single one of those rooms starts with a vertical ramp. You can use your speed with Sonic and swap to Tails quickly to fly from the top of that ramp to skip the entire combat section. In Final Fortress, same applies for that with Sonic's Rocket Excel jump and then switching to Tails. You can cross huge gaps and not have to fight most of those armored enemies. You said the gimmicks like in Hang Castle and Mystic Mansion are really cool, but overstay their welcome or get too repetitive. I don't really see that, because in Hang Castle, when the level flips upside down, it's really unique to see that the terrain was kind of considered from both angles. It really is the same area flipped completely upside down, so you're grinding over the top of a loop instead of running through it. And I'd say every section of that level has something new about whenever the castle flips upside down, even to where at the end you're running down the side of an upside down castle. And with Mystic Mansion, I love the idea that the castle changes shape as you hit the altars. And the music track actually sticks to a certain loop of the track, depending on which part of the castle you're in. I think Heroes gimmicks don't really hardly ever overstay their welcome, except for in Casino Park. And I think they're very creative. Probably the most creative level gimmicks we've seen in the series, and for the most part, they don't interrupt the flow of the stage either. I think Heroes just has fantastic level design.
All right.
So
much
more.
I'm gonna change my how I handle this for a second. I'm gonna give you guys a 10-second warning with a
Oh,
Okay, yeah, that's not gonna mess us up at all.
Yeah.
Love it.
Maybe a. And how do I give you guys a 10-second warning? What do I do?
How about you just say 10 seconds? How about you just say that? I don't think we need a sound effect.
10 seconds.
Let's go
All right.
startle me.
10 seconds.
There we go.
Yeah, my hair is actually standing up. I jumped 10 feet back whenever I heard that buzzer.
All right, SF, your response?
All right. Yeah, I want to acknowledge your point about the rail grinding and how it's similar to Sonic Adventure 2's rail grinding. I guess I can see that, but hot take for me, to be completely honest, I have never really been a fan of SA2's style of rail grinding. Now, admittedly, I've only played the remastered version of SA2 fully, so I understand that the rail grinding was kind of fucked up there. But even then, I can still see what you're saying, where the two are more like momentum based and whatnot. But I don't know. I just always found the rail grinding in both games to be just kind of slow and boring. And when you're doing it for so long, like you are in Rail Canyon, it just gets old really fast. And I also want to address the point you brought up about being able to use the different character abilities to skip combat sections. I am of the belief that you shouldn't have to skip segments of the game to make it good. Those combat segments, you shouldn't have to really learn how to skip all of that to make the game fun, you know? And the last thing I want to address, when you're talking about Hang Castle and Mystic Mansion, yeah, I mean, again, the gimmicks are really cool. Like, flipping the castle upside down, I think is great. And that teleporting bullshit you do in Mystic Mansion, it's all great. The problem is, it just lasts for too long. Like, the levels are just too long there. In my experience, I've played through Heroes twice, I think. And both times, Mystic Mansion and Hang Castle, I think I was spending well over 10 or so minutes in the level. So it just lasts for way too long. But yeah, you're right. It is cool how the music changes as well. I think that's a nice touch. Really, Mystic Mansion and Hang Castle
10 seconds.
are really only good aesthetically. When it comes to like level design, I'm just not a fan. It's just I find myself getting bored and just wanting to get to the end of the level rather than actually engaging with the level design.
So, good news and bad news. Good news is you guys are doing well. Good job. Bad news is I forgot the rule is 1 minute after. So
Oh, that was 2 minutes, wasn't it?
yeah, in fairness to SF, in
Oh.
fairness to Not a Sonic Channel, I'm gonna give you 1 extra minute just to respond to SF's extra minute. But then we'll go. Then I'll remember.
We'll go 1 minute. Okay.
to do 1 minute for the remaining 2.
Don't worry, sounds good.
So take it away. Your response.
So you pointed out, like, you see my point about the rail grinding and all that. I actually really love the way it's handled in SA2 and Heroes, especially the crouching and tilting mechanic to keep your momentum. It's actually kind of wild how much faster you go on the rails whenever you tilt in the direction of the curve or hold the crouch button downhill. But something I love about Rail Canyon is that in those straightaways where it seems like you're just grinding on a straight path for too long, all of the background rails they kind of just look like decoration. You can jump onto any of them, and they all take you through a roundabout way to reach back to the beaten path. I know that might not sound too interesting, but I really love the idea that things that look like background elements can be used as part of the level design. I've always loved when Sonic games did that. And Rail Canyon is a huge, proponent of that, especially in that one straightaway where there's like 10 different rails you can jump onto. I think it's neat to see where they all lead to and the ways that you get there. And in terms of like the levels being too long, I like the length of Heroes levels, but I do get it. I would say most Heroes levels tend to be like 5 to 8 minutes long on a normal playthrough.
Time.
Was that 2 minutes?
No, that was 1. Just couldn't reach my air horn fast enough.
Oh, I thought you were going to give him an extra minute.
Continue.
Okay.
Pretend like nothing happened.
I was like, damn, that went by fast. What was I saying? Yeah, you said 10 to 15 minutes. I have seen that happen, and I'm not trying to say skill issue. It's just that in my mind, Heroes levels are designed to be about, 6 to 8 minutes. And I think that is a bit too long for a first playthrough. Now, this doesn't mean that the levels are shorter, but I typically beat Heroes levels between 3 and 5 minutes, and I think that feels perfect for a speedrun. And it's definitely much better than what we'd see in games like Forces or some Colors levels, where the levels are like 30 seconds to a minute long. But I do get that. Again, I still prefer it to like the like 10, 15, 20-minute level length of some of 06's and Shadows levels. But to me, the substance in Heroes really does make up for some of the length of the levels. But yeah, I don't mind it too much, but I do see your point there.
All right, SF response.
Okay, so you mentioned things like the background rails in Rail Canyon and how you can't really tell that you can grind on them, but you actually can. I actually think that's an aspect that's more negative than anything. I feel like it should be made more apparent to me as the player, like where I could go in a level. I guess it does also introduce like some kind of exploration aspect where it's like, man, I wonder if I can get over there. I do like that aspect, but it should be more apparent. The level length, I still think 5 to 8 minutes is just a little too long. And I know you mentioned you beat the levels in like 3 to 5 minutes. I can probably guess that you've played the game more than me. So yes, that would naturally be the case. I guess for me, the ideal length for a level in a Sonic game, any Sonic game really, would be around like 3 to 5 minutes. But with that, I think the level design also needs to be engaging throughout. So with games like Shadow Generations and Unleashed, that's pretty much always the case for me.
Not a Sonic channel?
All right. You're talking about engaging. Now, I can see how a normal playthrough of Heroes might not be engaging with the stopping and starting with the combat. And you did mention earlier that, skipping the combat should not be an incentive or like imperative for the game to be fun. I wouldn't say that's exactly what I meant by that. The combat in Heroes is fun. There's a lot of different combat options, especially with a level 2 or higher Knuckles. You can plow through almost any enemy with certain strategies. Some of them you have to stun with Tails, then punch them immediately with Knuckles, but most enemies can be taken down in like 2 to 3 seconds if you know what you're doing. And it's, again, like the classic games. If you go to the lower path, that is less fun than staying on the top path, but that doesn't mean the game isn't fun overall. With the levels not being as interactive or engaging for you in Heroes, I feel like that's just because you're not committing fully to the mechanics the game is offering. I know they don't teach them very well, but they are there just to explore. Mess around with the button options, see what combos you get, see what movement options you get. I think the game is very engaging. Constant button inputs the whole time. I love it.
Rebuttal. All right, is that it? I think that's it.
I mean, I guess we're already getting into like the combat sort of thing, so.
Well, in that case, since we're talking about combat, let's move on to gameplay. Again, we're going to have 5 minutes. 5 rounds. 2 minutes for each round and 1 minute for each of the remaining 4 rounds, which I promise I will remember and actually do my job.
It's all good. The 2 minutes actually felt kind of nice there.
Yeah. Well, too bad. You made the rules, not me. All right, boys. Gameplay. We're gonna let Not a Sonic Channel go first because SF started all this.
Let's do it.
So
okay.
Take it away, Not a Sonic Channel.
For the gameplay, we were just getting into this, the constant button inputs. It may not be intuitive for a Sonic game, especially for a game that's meant for all ages. However, I'd argue that all early 3D platform games had more complex mechanics that they kind of just decided the player should mess around with and learn how to use. Again, my biggest issue with Heroes is it has a weak tutorial system, but again, if you're playing the game 4 times before you get to the final ending, I feel like you should at least attempt to engage more with the complex moveset you're given. I mean, the game does hint at how you can do these things, like how you can rocket excel to disarm shielded enemies or attach to tornado poles, or a level 3 homing attack can do the same thing. Sonic's tornado jump can be used as a platforming tool as well as a combat tool. Tails' Thundershoot has different ranges and effects depending on the level. I mean, it's not just the 3 characters, it's the level up system as well. And once you figure out what everything does, it's just non-stop constant action, constant input from the player. Like learning how to maintain your speed and momentum into Knuckles' glide to cut corners or skip huge chunks of the level. Like, it's not the skips themselves where you're skipping boring sections that makes it fun. It's learning how to use the skips that makes it feel like you've accomplished something for mastering the mechanics. I'd say Heroes is the most rewarding Sonic game ever whenever it comes to mastering the mechanics and trying to speedrun it. And so I'd highly recommend people go back and just toy around with the controls, toy around with the mechanics, and see what you can do. because it's a really complex game in terms of moveset, which is why I say, like, Heroes controls infinitely better than Shadow, because in Shadow you have all the same control issues than Heroes, but you don't have any of the complex movesets that are given that aid in that slippery control. Honestly, the slippery control in Heroes works whenever you use the other mechanics at your disposal to save yourself or to align yourself better with platforming. To me, Heroes feels amazing to control, and it always has, even whenever I was a kid.
10
So,
seconds.
yeah, I highly encourage just go in, toy around with the mechanics, see what you can do, and it becomes a lot more fun that way than just going through the level normally.
All right. Well done. SF, your response.
So when it comes to the controls, a lot of people say like the game is slippery, but the more I think about it, I wouldn't even really call it slippery. It's more sensitive. Like, yeah, your controls are just way too sensitive, and your movement is too sensitive. Now the level design, thankfully, does kind of make up for that with its more wide openness. But yeah, when it comes to something like strict platforming, that's obviously not going to be a good thing. When it comes to the combat, I feel like overall I just don't like it. The leveling system does not work for a platformer, in my opinion. That would work more for something like, I guess, something like Unleashed Swearhog, where you have multiple like combat rooms. That's like the entire point of the level, is to build your score. When you're trying to go for your best time, I think taking the time to defeat enemies to level up so you can defeat enemies better, I think that's a good idea. But it's just implementing that in a linear platformer, it kind of breaks the pace of the level. When it comes to things like the team mechanic, I think the team mechanic in concept is really cool. It's just that the characters don't really feel good to play as, and their abilities feel kind of nerfed, especially compared to previous entries. I would say the Rocket Excel is significantly worse than the Spin Dash. Tails' flight is also very stunted. Knuckles can't climb. You know, there's just things like that, and I feel like everyone is just kind of dumbed down to compensate for the team mechanic, rather than letting each individual character shine to their fullest ability. They had to nerf each one of them in order to,
10 seconds.
I guess, make the game less broken to play, I guess you could say. But I think it would have been infinitely better if each character just had their similar, pretty much exact movesets from like Sonic Adventure 1.
Infinitely better. Chaotix case files.
Infinite reference. Freaking Infinite from the Sonic series.
That little weakling?
He's the tallest of mountains.
Don't remind me about that.
The rise of waves?
I am not Peak.
All right. Back to the 1 minute rebuttals. Not a Sonic channel. Take it away.
Okay, so I want to address one thing. You were talking about how the power-ups seem to break the pace of the levels, and they're not meant for a linear platformer. I agree in theory, but I think in terms of Heroes level design and the way the power-up structure works, it's actually very fun strategy. Whenever you figure out what each level up does for each character, especially knowing, like, okay, Sonic to level 3 is important, Knuckles to level 2 is important, Tails to level 2 is important. You can optimize which character you go through the checkpoints with to level them up, which characters you kill enemies with to level up the other characters. It all works to me because these are seconds that these are choices you make in a split second, and it feels like not only is the gameplay fast, but your brain has to move quickly too in order to strategize the most optimal way to play the level. It only adds to that replay value where you tangle strategy and speed and reaction timing into the gameplay. I love that. Also, the Rocket Excel's goated. I'm going to get into that later, but that's all the time I have.
Okay. SF.
Well, actually, the Rocket Excel sucks. No, but yeah, I mean, I can kind of see where you're coming from when it comes to things like, you have to switch to this character at this point to optimize your route and your time. That sounds good. It's just, for me, I do not like playing as any of the characters. So it kind of gets to a point where it's like, okay, well, I could switch to this character, but I would only really switch to that character to just, like, kind of change the pace a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because it kind of works. I guess a better example would be Sonic 06, kind of. I think all the characters in that game control terribly, so when the levels are designed where you switch to a character like mid-level, it's kind of nothing more than just a nice change of pace. So I do find myself switching between the characters and heroes pretty frequently. It's just I just haven't been able to find
10
really
seconds.
an advantage to doing so. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely see your point when it comes to things like the power-ups. It's just, again, I don't think I don't think you should be nerfed until you level up.
All right. SF? I mean, sorry, not a Sonic channel?
I agree. Again, in theory, I do agree. And in fact, even in practice, and it basically does take full mastery of the game's mechanics to get a really fun flow out of swapping characters. I can see why it's not intuitive and why it might feel like a pace breaker, especially considering, like you said, they're nerfed. I do want to address the Rocket Excel real quick. It is not taught properly. That is the game's fault. But there is a fun way to use the move, holding the button down until your characters are lined up, then pressing it again. It shoots you off almost as fast, if not faster, than the spin dash did in SA2 or SA1. It can also be used to disarm or stun enemies. It can be used to attach to tornado poles. It is a very good moveset, not only for speed, but for combat and platforming. I love the Rocket Excel. I think it's really underrated. Tails' flight being stunted, Knuckles not being able to glide. Now, in SA1, Tails' flight clearly broke the levels. And I think that Heroes did a good job of not changing his gameplay style too much while also making it not a broken mechanic.
All right.
Wait,
SF.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that was my alarm. I try to like stop it before it goes off each time.
All right. So when it comes to Knuckles and Tails, I do see your point. Tails was very broken in Adventure 1. Of course, I think that kind of made it fun, but you are right. It shouldn't be that broken. But my point is, I guess Heroes almost stunts his flight too much, to where you have like a weird height cap. It's from where you're standing and you jump and you fly. It's weird how Heroes does it. It's like it's not just because you have a limited amount of time to fly. It's just like you can't go nearly as high as I think you should. Now with Knuckles, I guess the triangle dive kind of makes up for the glide a little bit. Not really. My main thing with Knuckles is like the climb, because outside of like combat, I don't really see a reason to use Knuckles. And honestly, I think, again, with the combat, we can go back to the combat again. Without them being leveled up, it's just not satisfying.
Shut up. Shut. All right.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
I thought you were
Alright.
unbiased.
Do we have one more round, or is that the last one?
We have one more.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Okay, let me know when I start.
Damn it!
Go.
Oh, okay. So, I do think the height cap is a little strict on Tails. I will agree with that. Although it does start, your flight height and length starts whenever you begin flying. So it's good to get a long jump in, which Tails' jump is a lot floatier than the other characters. I think that works really well with the platforming. So whenever you start flying, that's whenever your height cap begins. And I think it's actually really fun to use Tails' flight because you can reach a lot higher ground just by thunder shooting before landing, because it gets rid of Sonic and Knuckles at the bottom of the totem pole. So you can reach super high areas that almost seem unintended, but they definitely were. And I think the level design is based very well around Tails' stunted flight. And I agree it should be a little bit faster, it should go a little bit higher, but at the same time, it's definitely still the best in my mind. Like, not in terms of control, but in terms of just how it's implemented of the adventure era. Because in SA1, it did break the levels. As fun as that was, it was way too easy. SA2, well, we all know what happened with SA2. So, in terms of just, implementation, I think Heroes still did it best.
All right. SF, your final rebuttal.
So, I mean, ideally, yes. Like, Tails' flight, you should be able to use it to get to more places. And you can, like you said, but it's just with how limiting it is. I never get that feeling that I can really get to those different places. Like you said, they seem like they're out of reach. And yeah, that was my thought process as well. But I don't think that's a good thing. I think, again, we can go back to how the game is designed and making things more obvious to the player. But yeah, I just think Tails' flight and Knuckles' limited ability is just overall. Yeah, I mean, they're just not good. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I'm kind of just repeating myself here, but you did mention, I do want to bring this up while I have time, the Rocket Excel.
Seconds.
Now, the Rocket Excel is better than, like, Sonic Spin Dash and Adventure 2. I don't think it's better than Sonic Spin Dash and Adventure 1. Adventure 1 Spin Dash was broken, but it was broken in the best way possible.
And broken the best way possible, it shall remain. For we are moving on to structure. Again, 2 minutes to start, and then 1 minute rebuttals. SF, why don't you start us off with the game structure?
I actually don't hate the game structure. I think it's actually pretty cool. So you have the 2-act setup with a boss at the end of each zone, practically. So it works pretty similarly to the classics in that regard in the other 2D games. But yeah, I think that works pretty well. I don't have a problem with that. And even with the different stories, I don't even have a problem with that, really. You don't have to play the other stories if you don't want to. Like, sure, you'll miss out on the final boss or whatever, but that's only one boss. Like, I'm one of the people who, like, with Adventure 1, I just do replays of just Sonic all the time. And sure, I'm missing out on the final boss, but it's like, it's just one boss. So what I like to look at, like, the different stories of heroes is more so, they're different difficulties. And I'm pretty sure that's what was intended. You know, Team Rose is easy, Team Sonic is normal, Team Dark is hard, and Chaotix is just whatever the fuck Chaotix was. I don't know. I don't know the thought process behind that. But, yeah, I mean, structure-wise, I don't think the game is poorly structured. I mean, I think what they could have done better is for each story maybe mix up the level order a little bit just to change things up, because you do go through like the exact same levels in the exact same order for each story, just with slightly different level designs. I think that could have been changed. That probably would have been a good thing to change. Make it like 06, where each character has a different. They play through the similar or the same levels, but they just go in a different order from each other. That's really the only thing I think they could have changed. But yeah, otherwise, honestly, the structure of Heroes is not bad. The more I think about it, like, I don't think it's bad at all. It's just I think they should have treated it more like difficulty options rather than having you play through all of them and acting like they're all like this completely different thing. Because the characters' gameplays between the stories are also the same, pretty much.
All right. Doesn't seem like much of an argument on this side, but not a Sonic channel. Your response.
Okay, so in my notes, I just wrote down SF loves heroes.
What? No.
That was nothing but... In fact, it's kind of funny. This is usually the point of contention for most people about heroes, is having to play the game 4 times, and you actually share the same thoughts I do. I don't see it as the worst thing in the world, especially considering the previous 2 games had you swapping between gameplay styles. Especially in Adventure 2's case, it was mandatory just to beat one story. Heroes at least keeps the same gameplay style the whole time. And I'll totally agree that, it's basically just a difficulty structure between the teams. And I do find getting to the final boss can be a bit tedious, especially with Team Rose, because if you already played through Sonic and Dark, having a forced tutorial in Team Rose that doesn't even teach you the game's mechanics well, and then having to play the easy mode, it is a bit too much. And then Team Chaotix is basically just Shadow the Hedgehog the whole game put into one story. But to defend it a little bit, I will say that the level layouts are different enough, and the movements are different enough, the mechanics are different enough to make it not quite as stale, and you start to get more accustomed to the levels and controls themselves while you're doing it. I think you start to get better at the game as you go through it, and I think it starts to feel more fluid. And also, I really enjoy the final story. You don't have to play through a last level or anything, but Neo Metal Sonic is an awesome villain, and the final boss fight with What I'm Made Of is probably the coolest boss fight out of the Adventure era. Perfect Chaos is a close second to me. I absolutely love getting to the last story, and I love playing the last story, but I think we're in total agreement. So, SF, you're going to have to come up with some critiques
I
here.
do have something. I definitely have a few things.
Okay, sweet. I'm excited to hear it.
In that case, let's go. Hit it.
So I mentioned before the difficulties, the different stories acting as different difficulties. My issue with that, though, is that the natural order that somebody would play the game in is, from left to right. You go Team Sonic, Team Dark, Team Rose, because it doesn't really make it apparent to a first-time player that their difficulties, because you go from what? You go from normal difficulty to hard to easy to chaotix. Like, it's really out of order. So I think what should have been done is they should have put like a little thing at the bottom that tells you, okay, this is practically normal mode, this is hard mode. To like add like a difficulty like meter at the bottom, so people can see that, okay, well, Team Rose is the easier story, and they have shorter levels too, which I definitely appreciate. I actually really enjoyed playing through Team Rose's story. But
10 seconds.
yeah, chaotic sucks though. Like, I don't think you disagree with me there. Chaotic sucks. Like, the missions are horrible. Yeah.
Chaotic sucks. Moving on. Next.
Well, my friend, there is something. It's not at the bottom. It's at the top of the screen in the team select. It's a little button for Omochow to speak. You press the Y button, and Omochow tells you the difficulty of each team. Is anybody going to do that? Probably not, but it is there. There's a big flashing Y button at the top with Omochow's face next to it above each team. And if you press it, it'll tell you, Team Rose is the easy mode, Team Dark is the hard difficulty. So there is that, at least. At least they tried. I'll give them credit for that. I know what you mean about Team Rose having shorter levels and that being better. I feel like Team Rose's levels are a little too short, but they definitely are, at least in terms of progression. I don't mind doing that. It's just, quick 2-minute levels, no big deal. Team Chaotix, I don't hate Team Chaotix. I don't love them either. I'd compare them to Shadow the Hedgehog, although Team Chaotix levels are still to me better because the control's better and they're not quite as long. But there's no part of the game I hate. Even Chaotix Mystic Mansion I don't hate.
SF?
Counterpoint, Omochow's annoying, therefore. No,
Agreed.
No, I didn't know. Obviously, I didn't know that, but yeah, something a little more apparent would have been nice. But that's just a minor nitpick of mine, because I personally know that they're different difficulties. When it comes to Chaotix, I mean, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I think the exploration-based challenges where you have to go and search around for a specific item or kill a specific number of enemies is completely dog shit in a game like this that's mostly comprised of linear level designs. I think it is so poorly designed. And I actually see some parallels with, like, Shadow the Hedgehog. They kind of brought back a similar sort of thing with the different missions in Shadow the Hedgehog, which I fucking hate that about Shadow the Hedgehog. You mentioned the final story earlier. Neo Metal Sonic is a cool villain. I mean, yeah, there are better villains. I'll just leave it at that. There are better villains out there.
All right. Not a Sonic.
Okay, harsh disagree. Neo Metal is probably the coolest. Well, no, I think Perfect Chaos is cooler conceptually, but I will say, like, if we're just going to talk about the boss fights at this point, I think they're probably the best that we've gotten out of the adventure era. I know I'm probably going to get some flack for that. Like, in terms of structure, every 2 acts of a zone leads to a boss fight, just like the classics. And it's kind of like colors. There's 3 different types of bosses. There's the one where you chase down the boss and destroy it. There's the enemy gauntlets, and then there's the team battles. The team battles suck. We don't need to even argue about that. They're horrible. The enemy gauntlets are fun because that's where you learn how to level up your characters and what the level ups do, and how to basically make it more efficient. And then with the chasing down the boss, the music makes those a 10 out of 10 already, and Knuckles' Fire Dunk really destroys it. Dude, Egg Albatross is my favorite song in the game, unironically. I just listen to it all the time. So even if that fight's not the best, I still love the soundtrack. I love the scale of it. It's just fun to me.
SF.
Okay, so the boss fights, yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree completely. I think they're terrible. All of them. The enemy rooms, come on, bro. The enemy rooms, like, they're just enemies. Like, that's so lame. And there's like a million of them too, especially in the Mystic Mansion one. So yeah, I hate those. The team battles, like you said, suck. Yeah, those are not the best. I think it was Team Dark versus Chaotix. That one I think that was Frog Forest. That one was horrible. I had to get, like, chat to help me when I played it on stream because I could not figure out what the hell was going wrong. That one sucked. And for the chase bosses, I think those are the best out of the 3, but they're still kind of like button mashy. Especially the one in, was it Rail Canyon, the big blimp one. That one, you just kind of have to mash the homing attack and you're solid. It's over fairly quickly. It's just kind of mindless, and it doesn't really look that cool aesthetically, so it doesn't really have that that advantage that Frontiers' bosses had with, like, the spectacle. So yeah, I just don't like the bosses.
All right, next.
Counterpoint, you do not mash the homing attack on the chase bosses. That is a slow way to do it. you can use Knuckles, have the boss chase you back. It'll stop for a second. You can fire dunk it, and take it down in like 3 hits. Now, is that amazing? No. Comparing the bosses to Frontiers is just unfair. But comparing the bosses to the adventure games is totally fair. And I'd say Heroes, it has a good variety to it. It feels impactful when you especially use Knuckles and Tails at their different levels to your advantage. Like the enemy gauntlets, you can just spam the hell out of Knuckles level 2 or level 3 and Tails Thundershoot. And there's a little bit of strategy involved in how you take out those enemies, so it is fun. You constantly have to think about which character to use best for which enemies, and taking them out quickly is satisfying. It's not perfect, but, for a Sonic boss, I think that the chase ones and the enemy gauntlets aren't too bad. It's just the team battles are bad, but they're the character fights have never been good in the early 3D games. Adventure 1 especially. My goodness, those were rough. But yeah.
Didn't Shelmix make an entire video on how Heroes is like a puzzle game because of that fact?
I think
how
so.
You always have to swap characters to decide which is best to take down which boss.
And they're correct. Totally correct.
All right, SF.
I mean, I guess my dislike for the bosses just come from the fact that I do not like the game's combat. So, apart from like the team ones, and I think of the Hang Castle Enemy one, I didn't really have like an issue getting through the bosses. It was more so just they were just kind of boring. And for me, you shouldn't have to, the game. I guess the way to put it is, you shouldn't have to go out of your way to do certain things to make it fun. The game should just be fun. Like if the game wants me to use certain moves on the boss, it should be made apparent to me. And it shouldn't let me like take down the boss with just, like I said, spamming homing attacks. If that was like the unoptimal way, which I didn't really think it was unoptimal when I did it. I think it was over fairly quickly. But yeah, if that wasn't the way to do things, it should have been made apparent to me. This just kind of goes back to like the whole thing about Heroes not really like telling the player what to do to a good enough extent, I guess.
All right. Who was just speaking?
SF.
Me.
Okay, I thought so.
I need to change my voice up a bit.
Not a Sonic channel. Your final response to SF's claims.
Okay, so I get in a sense, especially, with what we know now about games and how games are structured with tutorials nowadays, the game should tell you the optimal way to beat itself, or at least the most fun way to play it. But to me, the fun is in learning that. To me, it's obvious whenever I'm homing attack spamming the Egg Albatross and I get hit constantly, or it takes, 2 minutes to take it out, that there's got to be a faster way to do this, especially with the A rank requirement being like 1:30 or whatever. I would think, okay, that's clearly not the best way to do this. It's possible to do it that way. It's possible to just spam the Team Blast on the boss and take it out in like 8 minutes. But I think the fun is in going, well, I can technically play the game this way, and that's cool that the option's there, but I want to learn the absolute best way to do it. And the only way to do that is experimentation. I don't want the game to stop me every 2 seconds and go, okay, fire dunk the boss. I love to learn that, because it feels really rewarding to figure that out.
All right, that was structure. Moving on to our final section before our closing statements. Presentation. How does the game present itself? Not a Sonic channel. You may start us off.
Beautiful game. Beautiful game. Especially now. I mean, even on the game, I still have my GameCube copy. I'm playing it on an old school TV. It still looks great. But especially on Dolphin widescreen, the game looks gorgeous. And the graphics themselves, like technically speaking, in terms of polygon count and all that, and lighting, of course, there were more advanced games around the time, but I think the art style, just like, Wind Waker, Mario Sunshine, all those beautiful GameCube titles, Heroes has an unmistakably timeless art style. The level settings are vibrant, varied, beautiful. When the game wants to be dark, it still feels like Sonic. Like Hang Castle, Mystic Mansion, not only is the music funky as hell to make it appear that Sonic isn't even afraid to be in these scenarios. He's just moving forward. It's fun. But it also isn't afraid to gear it up and be badass whenever it needs to. Like an Egg Fleet where you're literally jumping from Eggman's nautical-themed airships floating in the sky and taking them down with rock and roll in the background. You just can't hate a game like that. Even if you have problems with it, I feel like Egg Fleet, to most people, is a top 10 Sonic level. To me, it's my absolute favorite. And then Final Fortress, jumping into a massive battleship in the heart of a thunderstorm to take it down, it's just beautiful. This game, aesthetically, graphically, musically, everything about it is so perfect, and it's exactly what I'd like to see going forward in the series. That level of imagination that I felt from Adventure 1, mixed with the harshness and attitude and sense of urgency from Adventure 2, there's nothing I could critique about this game's art style. Even the models, I don't mind that they're shiny because it works with the game's art style, and I love the colors of the characters. I love the proportions of the characters. I think all around the game looks fantastic. The closest second to me in terms of aesthetics would be Colors or Adventure 1, but to me, Heroes is basically perfect when it comes to presentation. Yeah, that's all I got.
Wonderful. SF, how do you think Sonic Heroes presents itself?
I think everything besides like the soundtrack is not that great. I think musically it's good. Like the soundtrack is fantastic. Like every Sonic game pretty much. So that's kind of a given. I think the game has nice colors. It's just a little too basic looking. And yeah, the characters are very glossy, and I definitely disagree that it works with the art style. I actually think that the characters clash with the art style way too much. They're kind of an eyesore at times even. I guess I do appreciate, because obviously they're trying to go for a more classic look, but that doesn't really look appealing in 3D if you ask me. The level settings are nice. It's just a lot of them are a bit basic, like Casino Park is just, another casino level, like we've seen that a million times. And then, Frog Forest looks nice. I like Frog Forest. We already talked about Mystic Mansion. I think that level looks nice. Egg Fleet's obviously badass. But yeah, overall, I'm not a huge fan of how the game looks. I definitely think instead of going for a more classic look, they should have gone for kind of what they did in Adventure 1 with that like surrealism, modern, more kind of more realistic look. I think that also would have helped better with the character models if they made the character models less shiny, and have more like, I guess, natural lighting on them, to make them not look so glossy. I also don't really like the characters' proportions. I think they're like too short almost. And we haven't talked about voice acting. I think the voice acting and story is pretty basic. Heroes actually has some of the worst voice acting I think I've heard out of a Sonic game.
10 seconds.
And I'm glad they got recasted, let's just say, because when I played Heroes, I was like, why the hell do they sound like that?
Holy cow. I sense that Not a Sonic Channel has taken some offense to these claims. All I have to say is long quill supremacy.
Let me at him.
As the local 06 glazer.
Let me at him.
All right, have at it.
Unchain me. Before we get into the voice acting, oh god. Okay, you said we've seen casino levels a million times. Okay, but just like all the other levels in Heroes where it has like a simple aesthetic premise, like, a desert canyon, these levels take place in surreal, like, areas of the setting. I mean, have you been in a casino level where you're 10 miles in the air above a casino-themed city, rolling up and down the pinball tables, these neon lights flashing at you from all angles? I love that. Like, that is so unique, and uniquely Sonic, too. And just like with Rail Canyon, I mean, Mario has desert-themed levels. Most games have desert canyon-themed levels, but in which of those are you, again, 10 miles in the air above a desert canyon, grinding on razor-thin rails, getting shot out of cannons through, narrow canyons, and blowing up Eggman's face to get into his base? Like,
10 seconds.
the voice acting is superb. It's amazing, and I'm going to get into it more later. It's the best cast we've had.
SF, get at it.
No. So when you say like the levels are like, oh, they're 10 miles in the air, that's not an aspect of surrealism. That's an aspect of laziness, because they didn't feel like implementing the level assets into an actual environment that works. They just want everything floating in the sky. So you see that in Casino Park, Rail Canyon, Frog Forest. Egg Fleet makes sense, obviously, since they're in the sky. But yeah, a lot of the levels in this game are just kind of floating. The only level I would even say kind of does it decently well is Metropolis, and Power Plant. I think the assets there kind of mesh well, but I would not really call it surrealist that much. I think that's more of a result of them, obviously the game did not have the most, the biggest deadline, or I guess the game had a
That
very
buildings.
big deadline, I guess. Yeah, no, I think that those design aspects are more of a result of just like easy game design rather than going for specific style.
Not a Sonic?
I wouldn't use the word laziness. I would use resource management, and I'd say it's done very well. The backdrops are very detailed. They look hand-painted, or at least the CG's very good on them. And there's plenty of physical geometry in the background as well. The only level that I think kind of looks empty in that case, ironically, is Frog Forest. But even then, the backdrops make it look really beautiful, and I still get a great sense of immersion from those levels. I think it's done really well, and honestly, it being 10 miles in the sky does add to the high tense situations. I still enjoy the way that they look, and if it is resource management, I think it's done very well and cleverly. But I want to get into this voice acting. Ryan Drummond as Sonic and Heroes especially, I think does a phenomenal job. It's high energy, it feels like he is the character. Scott Dreyer as Knuckles is serious, he's angry, but he's also funny, he's not an idiot. We can, ditch Tails here. I kind of find him adorable, but, whatever. But, like, John St. John as Omega is fantastic. David Humphrey's Shadow. I think it's a great cast. I don't know what you're talking about there.
Whoa! My head's spinning. SF, back to you.
I just think when it comes to Heroes' voice acting, I think Ryan Drummond is probably my least favorite Sonic out of, the big three, as they call them, or as I call them. Because Ryan Drummond just does not have, like... Yeah, as we call him. Ryan Drummond just does not have, like, the vocal range to make Sonic seem like an actual, like, character. Every line in the Heroes sounds like exactly the same. There's no, like, variation, or there's little to no variation. I'm not going to say there's no variation, but there's little to no variation. There's not enough. Sonic is like, the whole fucking game, and it's so annoying. And I hate how he sounds. Tails sounds like shit. Knuckles is okay, I guess. I mean, I don't... whatever. And with Jason Griffith, he kind of had the same issue at the beginning of his Sonic voice acting career. All of his lines sounded very similar. It's only when he got closer to like Unleashed and Black Knight where he mixed in some more expression and vocal range.
Sonic?
So, I would argue, you talked about how Ryan Drummond sounds the same throughout the entire game, and you brought up how Jason kind of did that at first, too. I think Jason actually is more of a culprit of that, and I love Jason. He's my second favorite VA for Sonic, and overall has probably the better track record than Ryan, because he voiced the character for longer. But, Jason had the whole, like, well, Eggman, he, like, went up every single word. This is funny. But then Ryan has just this super teen angsty, or not angsty, but like energetic feeling about him that's like, oh, right! Like he just has so much energy that's brought to the character, especially in Heroes, that makes me feel like, okay, it's cheesy, but this is totally who Sonic is in these games. He's a teenager that just wants to speed ahead and do things at his own pace. I think Ryan Drummond embodies the idea of what Sonic is, characterized in his theme songs. Like, it doesn't matter. I think that all is my favorite personification of Sonic in general. I think Ryan's voice works very well for it. Jason Griffith is more of like a sort of inspiring quote machine, which I think works well too, but I really prefer the loose Ryan Drummond voice.
So that would be SF. You're up next, yeah?
Oh, okay, so... I forgot. I forgot. So you were talking about Ryan's character in Heroes fitting his character well. I would say he could fit it well, because yes, I also like when Sonic's more like, cocky and he's an angsty teen or whatever the fuck. But Ryan's voice just sounds annoying. Like, that's the best way I could put it. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I gotta say there. I mean, he just sounds annoying to me. I don't like it. I think Jason does a better job overall, and Roger, really. Roger in colors, I would take over Ryan in Heroes. For sure.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. wait, how many, if that's it, then how many rounds are remaining here?
One more.
Okay. I have an idea for the last round then.
All right, well, take it away.
I want to talk about something we probably agree on, the music. I think the music is phenomenal in Heroes. It's not my favorite soundtrack, but it is up there. It's very good. I think it works best whenever Sonic is a very healthy blend of rock and roll and electronic, and I think Heroes gets away with that without it feeling too forced. A lot of newer games are implementing like dubstep remixes and stuff, and I don't want them to lean into like dance music, but I do like whenever electronic elements are put into the rock and roll in tracks
we
like
don't want
Bullet
a
Station.
Sonic Boom Skrillex situation again.
No,
Oh, bro, of course we want that, bro. Come on
yeah,
now.
I do. Yeah, like Bullet Station, Egg Albatross, Final Fortress, all that power plant. It's really nice to hear like old school electronic synths and drum loops in mixed with rock and roll. I think it creates a very unique blend for Sonic music, and I think Heroes knocks that out of the park. But even the straight up rock and roll tracks like Ocean Palace are beautiful. And of course the vocal themes, all but We Can, are some of my favorites in the series. We Can is still good, but it's not up there. But the rest are amazing.
What? I like Ted Poly.
Aw.
I like Dead Polar
All right.
too. We Can is not.
SF, your final thoughts.
Yeah, soundtrack's good. I wouldn't say. I think I would prefer something like Frontiers, where it still has like that variety. It's just more. I don't know. Like I like Heroes' soundtrack. I think it's good. I don't know. I just like the sound of Frontiers better. And when you say you don't want them to implement like dubstep and EDM, that's exactly what I want them to implement. Keep that in something like cyberspace where it works. I wouldn't really do that like outside of in like a cyberspace like setting. But yeah, I mean, Heroes' soundtrack is good. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. It is good. Like again, yeah, I agree. It's not my favorite Sonic soundtrack. It's up there. Maybe like top 10. Maybe top 10. Maybe more like top 15. Sonic has a lot of good soundtracks. It's hard
10
to pick.
seconds.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I don't
Okay,
really know what else to
I
say.
guess
Out
before
of curiosity, what are your favorite Sonic soundtracks?
I was gonna ask that, yeah.
Frontiers, Rush, Colors, Unleashed,
Frontiers
06.
is crazy.
Frontiers,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? The
vocal
themes
tracks
the
are
best
great,
vocal
but-
themes in
The
entire
vocal, yeah, but it has like a very odd problem where Frontiers had tracks that were so good, which is like 4 of them, that it made all other 60 completely unrecognizable.
the cyberspace tracks are
the
great.
island
They
themes
just
are
don't
fire.
fit
The cyberspace
the
tracks are
themes.
good. No, they fit the themes.
Uh,
Yeah, it's
sometimes.
just you just gotta like lock in, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Alright,
Oh
we
yes,
gotta
I
Heroes
didn't
debate.
lock in. That was
The
my
Heroes
problem.
debate.
My
Heroes.
Heroes.
SA1 Unleashed, CD Japan. Those are my top 3 soundtracks.
Not. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Fair enough.
Cool.
Fair enough.
No,
Unleashed
not
is
Heroes,
always up
surprisingly.
there. It's good. All right. So we're gonna move to our closing statements. SF, you're gonna have 3 minutes to just wrap things up, and then not a side channel. Same to you. Prove to the audience why you're right and your opponent is wrong. SF, take it away.
Yeah, again, overall, Heroes is one of my least favorite Sonic games because, again, when you break it down to its individual aspects, I don't really like most of them, especially all of them that contribute to like the overall gameplay and experience you have when playing the game. I don't think the art style is very interesting. I don't think the gameplay is good. I don't like the combat implementation. I don't really like the level design all too much either. I think all of that combined just contributes to like overall a very shitty experience. And you will have, I would even say you would have much more fun playing a game like Rise of Lyric, where at least the environments are more interesting. And
They're not.
honestly, let me think about this. The combat, do I like Rise of Lyric's combat better than Heroes? I don't know. But yeah, I would rather play through Rise of Lyric because I feel like I get a more consistent experience there, and it's shorter and it's easier to get through. Heroes, there are points where I just want to rip my hair out and just turn off the game because of how dog shit it is. But yeah, I guess there are good aspects about it. I don't think the game is structured terribly. I think the difficulty setup of the game when it comes to the different stories works well. Again, we already talked about it. It should just be made more apparent. I think the art direction of the game is overall pretty basic, and the level environments you run through are overall uninteresting. Whether that would be due to like a stylistic choice or due to like not a Sonic Channel said like resource management, I still don't like it. I think it looks uninteresting. Yeah, really the only thing I could safely say is like really good in Heroes is the music, really. And we didn't even talk about the special stages, but the special stages are also dog shit. I just wanted to throw that in there. But and the multiplayer as well. We didn't talk about the multiplayer. I actually kind of like the multiplayer. I remember playing it like, this was like on the PS2. I played the multiplayer a lot for some reason. It was pretty fun. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. I just think the game is pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a Sonic channel.
Alright.
Why is Sonic Heroes the best Sonic game ever made?
That's ridiculous.
Okay, well, what's ridiculous is that you said you'd rather play Boom, but
maybe.
I want to agree on 2 points. Special stages are terrible, and multiplayer is actually really good. Second to SA2's multiplayer. I think multiplayer in Heroes is really fun. What I will say is, and I'll be completely real about this, Heroes is a game that I can easily see be in someone's top 10 or bottom 10 Sonic games. If you've seen my commentary, you've heard me go in depth about this. The game asks a lot from the player and doesn't tell you how to do most of it. And while I enjoy that learning experience, and I think that the process is still fun, Heroes can be a very frustrating game. It can be cheap at times, but I felt that way about nearly every Sonic game that I've played. And what keeps me coming back to Sonic is interesting level design, fun mechanics, great music, and good level settings. Great, I think Heroes has that in spades. Whenever you're playing a video game like Heroes where your first playthrough is rough, but there's so much positive surrounding you to make you want to play the game again. I mean, it's very endearing, it's lighthearted, again, beautiful settings, great level aesthetics, great music, and there's that voice in your head that just goes, man, I wish the game played better. The thing about Heroes is, it can, and it will. Heroes doesn't have any serious roadblocks whenever it comes to what you're capable of. It all just depends on the player's skill level. The game gives you so many tools that it's overwhelming and unintuitive. But at the same time, learning all those tools can make the game play so much better, so much more smoothly. Heroes can become the most fluid, fun, interactive Sonic game that you could ever play, but it's all up to how much you're willing to put into it. So I understand if somebody's not willing to put that much time and effort into learning Heroes. But if you are, it can be an extremely rewarding replay. It has a lot more to offer than most other Sonic games do, and as somebody who's on the other side of that experience and can, speedrun these levels in about 2 to 3 minutes, it is extremely fun. It's more fun to me than Unleashed, SA1, SA2, speedrunning those levels, and those are all some of my favorite games. It's just something is special about Heroes, and I really encourage anybody on the fence about the game or that hasn't played it much, just go try again and play around with the mechanics, because it can be an extremely fun, rewarding experience. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Me and SF actually agreed on quite a lot, and this was a very fun debate. And obviously I won.
It was very fun.
So
Happy to be here.
Remember, bro, next up we got the Mario Sunshine debate, bro.
We're going to have the Mario Sunshine debate, because SF also hates another good game, so...
Actually, okay, I don't hate Mario Sunshine.
I haven't played that one either. I'll moderate again.
Perfect. I just think it's very poorly designed, but yeah. People, it's funny because people say like Sunshine is like the Heroes of Mario game.
It totally is.
It is, but like they don't say that in the way you want them to say that.
No, but it's true. It's totally true. A lot of people hate it, and I love it. That's exactly how it feels. But okay, guys, it's been a huge blast having you guys on the channel, and I want to thank you both for taking out the time to do this. I know a lot of people in my my audience were waiting for a long time for this. They've been wanting this really badly, especially SF. Once you popped into my hot take stream and agreed to do this, it's been all anybody's been talking about.
Oh,
so.
God. Hopefully I didn't disappoint.
I hope I did everybody proud. And I just want to say, SF Productions, Canon Construction, these guys are amazing channels. They make fantastic content, and heavily encourage y'all to go subscribe and check out their content. Guys, anything else y'all want to add before we end this up?
You go subscribe to me, because I get money, and that lets me get lunch.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
The more subscribers I have, the more sandwiches I can buy. So please do that.
Fair enough.
Perfect.
I mean, yeah, it's been fun. Oh, we need to do.
And remember to like the
like
video, like this video, subscribe to Not a Sonic channel if you haven't already. Share it, ring the notification bell, and if you're on mobile, hype the video as well.
Bro, you gotta put up the Hello Neighbor like green screen. Like, nah, but not a Sonic channel, bro. Do you like Lost World, bro? Do you like
I think it's decent.
Oh my God!
Well,
all right,
let's
I'm
get
debating
that.
now.
Damn it.
Lost World's my least favorite Sonic game of all time.
See, I'll debate canon on that one. There we go.
Yeah, you got. I mean, Lost World
You got
3DS maybe.
The only damn part of Lost World I enjoyed was the Super Monkey Ball level.
I like
There was
the
a
rail
Super-
level that
wait,
everyone
hold-
hates.
Time out. Super Monkey Ball level.
Yeah, it was one of the ones in the ice levels. You like became a big snowball and you turned
You
the.
like that?
I thought
That's
everyone
like the
hated
whole-
that level.
That level sucks.
Yeah, well, okay, it's better than everything else in the game.
Okay, we're gonna have to
I
have
like
this
Super
debate
Monkey
like
Ball.
We're
right
gonna
now.
have to- yeah.
Do you
What
not
do we
like
call-
Super Monkey Ball?
That's not Monkey Ball, bro. That is not the same thing.
I
It
think.
is completely it
Apples
is
and
completely
oranges,
different.
Jesse.
Do you like Super Monkey Ball?
A fair amount, a decent amount.
All right.
Was that, yeah?
Sick.
Dude,
All right.
SF, you like Super Monkey Ball? All right.
SF, do you have a little outro you want to do, or?
Not really. I just thank you for having me. It's been fun. Yeah, I got to hate on heroes, so it's always a pleasure to do something like that. I gotta
yeah,
be the
man.
#1 heroes hater, of course.
And I get to be the #1 heroes glazer, and we're both in the same room, and we didn't pull each other's hair out. I mean, mine's falling out by itself, but like, hey, it's pretty nice. Again, thank you guys so much for being on. And if you haven't by now, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to SF and Canon. Be sure to share the video with your friends, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and remember, I'm not just the king of Sonic Heroes. I'm also not a Sonic channel. See you guys next time.